Welcome! In this video, we'll be covering the assembly of a Dell Optiplex 270. While this guide focuses on a specific model, many of the skills demonstrated are applicable to any build. If you would like to learn more about a component covered in this video, click Components in the menu to the left, then click your desired component. The Dell Optiplex 270 has a case made specifically for Dell. It is a mid-tower case made for quick mass production of units. Instead of conventional side panels, the case implements a hinged clamshell design. The processor has an arrow on one of the corners. This will correspond with an arrow on the socket to indicate proper alignment. Be careful during handling and installation not to bend the pins. Open the retention arm to allow insertion of the processor. Ensure the processor is aligned with the socket and gently drop it into place. Carefully check the processor is seated correctly, then lower the retention arm and lock it into place. The processor generates a lot of heat and requires cooling to prevent damage and ensure efficient operation. The heatsink uses its larger surface area to dissipate the heat from the processor. Thermal compound is used to fill imperfections between the processor and heatsink for better heat transfer. If the thermal compound is not pre-applied to the heatsink, apply your own, the most common methods being a small drop in the middle or a thin line. Let the pressure of the heatsink spread the thermal compound to avoid trapping air. With thermal compound pre-applied to the heatsink, it is simply snapped into the plastic socket. The green retention clips are installed to secure the heatsink so it maintains proper contact with the processor. When installing RAM, be sure to use the notch at the bottom of the module to align it properly, matching a corresponding tab in the RAM slot. If the notch and tab do not align, try rotating the stick. If they still do not align, then you most likely have the wrong type of RAM, as each iteration the tab is located in a different position. You can often find the correct RAM in the manufacturer's documentation for your motherboard or using an online memory finder such as provided by Crucial. Next, the RAM is installed. Again, making sure to properly align the modules. A firm, even pressure is applied straight down. As seen, the motherboard flexes from the pressure, but as with any component, you should not force the module as it can cause damage. The RAM should click into place and the retention clips on either side lock. With the Dell Optiplex 270, the motherboard is mounted to a removable motherboard tray, unlike other cases where the motherboard tray is built in and the motherboard is attached using standoffs and screws. The 4 clips seen will hold the motherboard tray. Line up the tray and slide it towards the back of the case to lock it into place. The power supply takes the electricity from your wall socket and converts it to the type and power required by the computer components. The power supply is inserted at the top rear of the case, and a clip will help retain it. Secure the power supply completely using the screws. Optical drives allow the computer to read and write to CDs and DVDs. You will most likely use a DVD to install your operating system. The optical drive uses a rail system for installation. Align the rails on the drive and secure with screws. Making sure the drive is the right way up, align the rails and slide the drive into place. Connect the Molex power cable. Connect the cable for direct audio. Now connect the IDE ribbon. The hard drive is the primary means of permanent storage on the computer. It stores data on an array of spinning magnetic platters. As with the optical drive, the hard drive uses a rail system for installation. You can refer to the optical drive installation for a demonstration. Attach the Molex cable to provide power to the hard drive. Connect one end of the IDE ribbon to the drive and the other to the right connector on the motherboard. The 20-pin cable from the power supply is connected to the motherboard. This will provide the main source of power for most motherboard components. The 4-pin power cable will provide supplemental power to the CPU. The front indicator LEDs, power, and reset buttons are wired together in a single connector and then attached. The front input connector is attached to provide access to front of the case inputs like USB. Next, the direct audio cable from the CD drive is connected. There is a wide array of expansion cards. Most common are graphics cards. First, we demonstrate the installation of an AGP graphics card. Line up the card and push down with firm pressure, trying to minimize side-to-side movement. Now we demonstrate the installation of a PCI graphics card. It is installed the same way as the AGP card. It is unlikely you would run AGP and PCI graphics cards at the same time, and this was done solely for demonstration. Next, we fit the audio card in the PCI slot between the two graphics cards, again using a firm pressure straight down. Instead of individual screws, a single retention arm is used to secure the cards. Now we need to connect the external inputs and outputs. First, we connect the VGA cable from the monitor, securing the connector with the fasteners. Next, we attach the PS2 cables for the mouse and keyboard. Perhaps the most important, we connect the external power cable. Finally, make sure your computer is functioning. Powering on the computer should produce a single beep. You can then install your operating system. The hard drive used in this video had Windows pre-installed.